Hello again. So I think I should start right now. Firstly, I'll revise list again since you just began learning coding. So I think it was too much for one day and one session. So I'll revise it, and then we will study tuples today, which is quite similar to list. So and tuples is quite a short topic to discuss. So it will be covered again. Achha. So going back to lists, so basically in every language, there are certain tools that we have to learn first, the certain data types that we have to learn first to perform functions later. You might not see a particular reasons for why we're studying this, but you will see once we'll give you the assignments. Okay, these are very helpful things to learn. Achha. To begin with, the first thing to notice that we started was from session 2 on strings yesterday, was about how to change between data types. If you have to change from integer to a string, it is this. Let me put a comment over here. Integer to string. And then if you have to convert from a string to an integer, you write, for example, if I declare a string, anything, it has to be a number. And then I write the name of the string that I have declared, str. Okay, that was it. And then it was about the power of variables. If it is a string type, so Python knows when we declare something without anything and we just write it, it is an integer value. If it has a decimal, then it is a float value. But if it contains within a double quotation, it is a string value. Again, whenever you multiply something, a string variable with a numerical value, it will repeat itself. Okay, let me run it again. It will repeat itself as many times, and for a numerical value, it treats it as it is, like we study normally. Okay, now moving towards list that we studied yesterday. So list is declared as with a square bracket. Then the list could be all numerical, it could be all strings, it could be numerical and string, and the list could also contain another list. Another thing that we came to know was that lists are mutable. However, strings were not mutable. What does that? It means that list can be modified. However, strings cannot be modified. We saw over here, okay? We cannot change the letter over here. We have to declare another string. However, if you have made a list of marks, you can change at the 0 index. We changed it to 45. So it was later changed to 45. You can see over here, right? Yes. Okay, then concatenation works similar with strings and list. If we concatenate to list, it joins obviously B after A, and that's, we declared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there is only one list. Are you following, right? If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, then about slicing. Slicing is also similar as it was in strings. It is same as in list. You use square brackets and then a colon. And you would have studied that if I miss the second colon, this one, it will take from this index to the last. And if I miss this side and put a digit over here, it will start from the beginning till the second index, or till the second index, but not including it. Okay, as it creates the wall before these numbers. And then we studied a lot of operations yesterday. We made a list, a new list, and the minimum function. That's how you do it. The maximum, the sum, and then we started sorting. This is for ascending order. You simply write the name of the list dot sort parentheses, and for descending, you have to, in this sort, in this parentheses, you have to write reverse is equals to true. As a default, In Python, it was reverse is equals to false. You don't always have to write it, but we tested it yesterday that it was there. Achha. Then moving to, there's also a length function, and we use the length and the sum function to find an average. And then other operations, we declared another list. So there were some operations to remove certain things from the list, and then there were some operations to add new things to the list. So we have to clear the entire list was the name of the list dot clear. However, as discussed before, the purpose of putting a hashtag is to comment it out. Comment it out means that it is there, but it will not be executed. You can add comments to add description to your code. It is a very simple code. So if I see it again, so I can understand what it means. But when the code becomes very complex, you can always add comments for later, right? So like it is helping me right now. Kal jo maine padhaya. Acha. If you have to remove specific values if you don't know the index, but you want to remove it, you can remove it like this. If you want to remove with an index value, then you use the pop function. We use remove function over here. Then if you put nothing within the pop function, it will always remove the last value, obviously at the last index. Okay. And then for multiple values, you can use del. And then as we did it for slicing, usi tarah, if you have to remove a certain portion, then you will decide from what index to what index you need it. For example, it is 1 to 3. What would this mean? 1, this 0 index, first index. Second, third, fourth, and then fifth. So 1, the wall is created over here. And on the third one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 1, 2, 3 over here. There's only these two values will be deleted. Okay. And then we had some addition to the list operations. Operations not, I would just say functions. And then if you have to append something, we can do it like this. If you have to append one thing, if you have to add multiple values, then you use the extend function, and you put a function always come with a circular, with a round parenthesis. And within those parentheses, if you're adding multiple values, you have to first put square brackets, and then you have to add values as you do in a list. And it will be added, and it's always added at the end of the list. It's always added at the end of the list. Okay. And yes, yesterday, I missed this. It's not a very big deal. But whenever you declare something, what basically happens when you declare a variable, or when you declare a string, a list? So what happens is कि हमारी computer system में एक memory होती है, एक main memory होती है, एक पीछे CPU की memory होती है. अच्छा खैर उसमें नहीं हम जाते. एक memory होती है, and whenever we declare something, it stacks up on that memory, right? So when we created a list, the list was created in a specific space in the memory in our computer. So whenever you're doing coding, so at the end of your code, it is a good habit of a good coder that they always delete their variables. So at the end, when you have done everything, when you have completed all of your assignment or every operation that you have to do, you always delete at the end. Yes, so you have to delete. Okay, then the thing that wasn't explained much yesterday, and since we also ran out of time, so I'll explain that again today. Let's say, do we have questions? Do we have questions till now? What if you don't delete? Nothing will happen. It will stay in the space. It won't worry us because मतलब ये इतने बड़े space occupy नहीं कर रहे हैं, but it is always good to have free space. We are not coding extensively. We are not making a whole computer or for cybersecurity or for data science, but this is always a good habit to do. मतलब हम अभी से अच्छी habit सीखेंगे तो फिर आगे जाके करेंगे. अच्छा, guys, any further questions? It just takes up your memory, that's it. Okay, good. Okay, so the thing that we had to study was string into a list. Okay. So it was a very pretty interesting thing, that how could you convert a string into a list? So I declared a string yesterday, sent1 sentence that was, sent1 is today is Monday, and to convert it into a string, you have to write the name of the list that you want to declare. It's completely up to you, is equals to the name of the string dot the function. The function to convert a string into a list is split function, split, and then parentheses. And then what it does, it makes a list, and which is today is Monday. These today string is separated, is separated, and Monday is separated. Now, okay, one thing that I want to emphasize over here was, in a string, this was 0 index, this was 1 index, 1, oh, sorry. So this was 0 index, this was 1, this was 2, this was 3, this was 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. However, in a list, this whole today is 0 index, this whole is 1 index, and this whole Monday is 0 index. Okay, you can always extract these words from the list and store it and save it into another variable, and obviously it will be stored as a string. Okay, another thing that we saw yesterday with the split function, how intelligent it is that how many spaces I put, and obviously I declared another string, a variable is equals to, and then I just wrote the same sentence with more spaces, and I declared another name of the list of my choice. I just changed 1 over here is equals to sent, the name of the string, dot the function, and then parentheses. And then I saw, and I printed those both of the list, and I saw that the output is same. So if you are splitting, if you're just using the function split and with nothing in the parentheses, so it is an intelligent function, and it will consider all the extra spaces as nothing and would print out your words. So the spaces does not make a difference. Okay, but what if you don't really want to split from the spaces, you want to split from something else? Okay, for example, let's do another example. We definitely have time. Acha. Let's say I was born in September, okay, and then this was sent 3, or let's just try something else, birth, okay, and then okay, let's use what we were doing. I'm sorry for this. Acha, so we basically wanted to see कि वो space के अलावा भी हमें change करके दे सकता है, तोड़ के दे सकता है कि नहीं. So we are going to see that. Okay, we declared a string name, email, and I wrote my email, and I just wanted to see email my customer was using. Okay, I wanted to see how many people use Hotmail or Outlook or Gmail. Okay, so I wanted to see that. For that, there is no space, but I can still split it, right? And I declared a name of the list of my choice, and then I wrote the name of the string dot the name of the function split, and then within the parentheses, I put single quotation. And then whatever thing I put, it could be a letter, it could be a number, it could be a symbol. For example, over here, I put the @ shift 2, and it got saved into this list. Okay, and then I printed the list, and it got separated. So the @ is removed, and I have Zoha 890, and then I have gmail.com. And then I know that this is at 0 index and this is at first index. And then I can save that into another variable. And obviously, we can see over here that it is within the quotations. So it is a string data type. And then I can print it. That is Gmail. And then I can do a lot of things later, which obviously I'll mention it later when we're studying loops. What if you want to keep the @? Then you can always do this. You can say, then you can separate it with a 0. Yes, there you have it. So you have to decide what output you need, and according to that, you have to decide, okay, how should I go about it? So that's where the coding becomes, and that's where coding becomes interesting. That you have to think, कि आपकी अपनी पसंद की output के लिए what you have to do. Yes, it will. The thing where you want to split it from, it will always vanish. For example, यहाँ पे default में it was space, तो जितनी मर्जी spaces आ जाएं, ये नहीं कि वो एक space थी तो it removed it. It will always remove all the spaces. So it's built within the function. But if you still want it to be there, तो obviously आप splicing कर सकते हो. लेकिन it's an easier, faster way. Obviously, ये अभी तो मैंने बहुत छोटा सा लिखा है. अगर what if it was longer? If it was a complete sentence, my email is this, then you remove it with this, then splicing करना मुश्किल हो जाती है because you miss out indexes, especially spaces. Any further questions? So I can start with our today's topic. Good. Anyone else? Okay, so I'll start with our today's topic. It's not a lengthy topic. It's pretty similar to list. Okay, so our today's topic is tuples. So we studied strings, we studied list, and now we are going to study tuples. Now all of these were sequence of characters or sequence of values, and list and tuples are basically same, except obviously how they're declared. And only one thing is that tuples is not mutable and its values cannot be changed. It's a permanent list. You could think of it as a permanent list. Okay, first we'll see how tuples are assigned, how we assign tuples, and then we'll see, okay, we cannot do a lot of things with tuples. We can only do limited things with tuple. So why they are there. Okay, now let's start with assignment. How do we assign it? Assign. So there are two ways. Way one, Way one is simply we do it. For example, I write T is equals to, it is declared with simple parentheses with round brackets. So that's basically a tuple. And we could add things into it. Obviously, yeah, right. Yes, so that is a tuple with round brackets, values inside, pretty similar to list. However, it is not mutable. It cannot be sorted. It cannot be append. Nothing. We cannot append something into it. We cannot remove something into it, and pretty much we cannot do anything with it. We can do things, obviously. Okay, so this was way one. We'll move to way two. Way two is, for example, I would say it's like how we used to write coordinates, or how we still write coordinates. That is, for example, I write 2 and 3. It is also a tuple. So a thing with it is we can actually print x and y, and it will come. We're basically assigning, it is a tuple again, it cannot be modified. However, this we are directly also in a way assigning these values. So 2 is assigned to x and 3 is assigned to y. So if we print x and I print it, so x is 2. Okay, good to go. So that's how we assign tuples. And why we use tuples instead of list sometimes is because it is an efficient version of list. How it is efficient? When for example, there was a variable that I don't want to be changed within the code, even by mistake. For example, I was making a marks list and I don't want anyone to alter my code or alter the marks. I can always make a tuple. ठीक है कि ताकि कोई cheating now. Yes, and it is also good for memory because there is not change or addition occurring into it. So there's a very specific memory allocated to it, and therefore it becomes more efficient and performs better. So that's when you know that you're not going to change, you always make a tuple of it. Okay, moving forward, it stores different data types. It stores numericals. As I said, that it's very similar to list. So it stores numericals, it stores strings, and tuples too, but obviously not a list. And we'll now see how do we index. Indexing is again very, very similar to normal indexing, which was the name of the tuple, then the square brackets, and then indexing, for example, 0. Okay, so there are two very interesting things. One is the normal way, the casual way, and that is, for example, I store it, I print it out, T2, and I do this. Okay, T2 was 0, 1, 2, and that is 6. And there is an interesting way. New way to index is that we can use negative numbers for this as well. T index, and if I put -1 over here, so normally it is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's how we did it for strings. That's how we did it for lists, and that's how we're also doing it for tuples. However, there's another new way to index with tuples, is that we can go backwards. But for backwards, we don't use the word, we don't use 0. So -1 is basically 11. We'll see that 11. Yes. So we can write -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. We'll see -5. And there we have 2. So it works both ways. However, when it's starting from the end, we don't use 0, but we started from -1. So there was another new way how we index tuples. Moving forward, do we have any questions? But obviously, if I will move away from 5, तो कुछ है नहीं, तो obviously it will give us an error. Do we have any questions? Okay, so I'll move forward. And again, it also has a splicing function. Slicing, and that is again very similar to list. Slicing is not changing the tuple, you are extracting it from it, not exactly changing it. Okay, so you can do that. For example, I want to slice, I print it, I'm printing and I'm writing the name of the tuple, and then I want to slice from the first index, so I'll write 1, and then I'll also put 3, so that is the third index is this. A wall is created over here, so this both will be selected and we'll see that. Yes, and again, see, it is with round brackets, it's a tuple. Okay, moving forward, we can also combine two tuples. We can concatenate them. And let's make another tuple. Let's make another tuple with the round brackets. And then let's concatenate. And then I'm going to print. And that's, it got, Matlab, I know you would be saying that, you know, we weren't supposed to add something to it, but concatenation still applies to tuples. But you cannot append, reverse, or sort it. We can try it. We can try something, but there will be an error. So t dot sort, then we have an error at 173. 173 we have an error. So yes, you can see that we cannot do certain things that we can do on list. We cannot do it on tuples. Okay, do we have any questions? Okay, by saying that the tuples are not mutable, basically it means that not mutable. Basically it means that the values that I have put into this means that the 0 index was 2. The 0 index will stay 2. I cannot change it. Previously, when I modified, I'm going back to the list, okay? So yes, mutable. So when I changed the 0 index and I declared it 45 instead of 23, and it was changed. We saw it over here. Yes, it was changed to 45, right? However, this cannot happen with tuples, and we'll see it right now. So if we say that T0, the first index, our T was, okay, let's use T1, which is visible on the screen. T0 is equals to 3, okay? And there will be an error on 173. It is not possible. What values you have put into the tuples, it cannot be changed. And that's basically what I meant by they are permanent. Okay, I'll comment it out because I don't want an error. All right. So we cannot change the values, and we can again delete the entire tuple, which is always good to delete whatever you're declaring. At the end of the code, I declared a T, I declared T1, and I also declared capital T. So it's always a good habit to delete them all. It will clear your memory. Obviously, these are very small and this won't affect your memory as much, but it's always helpful. However, let me comment it out. I still need these lists, or we can make a new one. Let's leave it like this. Okay, let's make a new. Wait, don't we need them in the code? Why do we delete them also? Achha. We say, so the code executes line by line. I declared it over here, I used it over here, and then I used it over here. Good. I used it over here again. I declared another list, and I concatenated over here, and I printed this out, right? And now I am deleting it. Now if I will do anything with my tuple or anything that I am deleting, that will not be possible. For example, if I'm saying print T, I will have an error on 180, right? But if I am doing this right over here, print T, right? I don't have an error at all. Rather, it is printed. So it executes line by line. So if I delete it at the end, it won't affect our previous use. Okay. Do comments take memory? Very good question. I don't think so, because they're not variables. Variables take memory. But it's a very good question. I'll look into it. It's an excellent question. Can you run the code after deleting the variables? Yes, I just did it. I run it and it performed this. It performed the 2. Yes, we have 6. Yes, we have -5, 2. Yes, we have this slicing. And then again, yes, we have this concatenation. And I deleted. So it happens like, okay, the code is going to go over here, and then it's going to go over here, and then over here, and then over here. And now it goes over here. So this is executed first, then this is executed, then this is executed, and then this is executed, right? So now if I will put print, for example, T1, right? It will give me an error. Error on 180. Yes, I have an error. However, what if I print T just before I delete it? Just a line before, right? And I obviously cancel this out. So yes, it is over here, 24975, 24975. Okay, perfect. Now let's declare one last. Yes, we just have 2 to 3 things left. Okay, perfect. Now let's declare a list. These are very 2 functions, operations or functions in case of tuples, and we'll see them right now. Okay, count and indexing. So first let's declare a tuple, and let's make price, and let's make a tuple with round brackets with normal parentheses, and okay, fine, good to go. Okay, now there is a function called count. So for example, I would write, and if I want to count how many times, okay, let's make it marks, makes more sense. How many kids got 23, for example? So what I will write is the name of the tuple, marks, dot, count, and then in brackets, I will write whatever I want to see the count for. I want to see how many kids got 23. I'll write 23 and then I will run it. Oh, I have to print it as well. Let me store this number into X, and then let's print X. Then 2 times, yes, 23 is 2 times. So it will give us the count. Python is very efficient if you have to count. Otherwise, in C++, you have to, write a longer, far longer code. So that was count, and now count. And then let's move towards indexing. Index. So it is not indexing. Okay, let me come towards it. Index. So what if there's a certain number and you want to know what index it is at? It is a very, very long list and you don't want to count. Can you count in list? There wasn't, we can try. There wasn't such a function. I don't remember. Okay, let's try. Marks dot count 23, and this was after this, then Zara and Sarah, and then 15. So this was print, which I have to print it as well, obviously. Oh yes, it works. So this was Zara and Sarah over here that we printed the names. And then the second thing we did was to print the marks and then count 23. And yes, 23 are 3 times, and that's the 3, 4. Also, I would like to mention one more thing. The session is going to end in a minute. It will start again. Okay? And there's only one thing left, and I also want to add one more thing, and that's it for today. अच्छा, उतनी देर में लिख भी देती हूँ. So should I start? Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is basically the last thing left. However, there's one thing more I would like to say. Acha, khair. Okay, so if I want to know कि 87 का क्या index है, ठीक है? And I don't want to count, I simply just want to know. So I'll write the name of the tuple, dot, then I'll write index, and then parentheses, and then whatever value that we need. Here we have, I want to know for 87. Then I saved it into a variable, and now I'm going to print this variable, which is this. So I should. It doesn't matter, but for convenience, I can change the variable. I used X before as well. Here we have 5th index. We can count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it is at index 5. So you don't always have to count. These are very two handy, good question. Let's try. 2 very handy functions used. Let's see, 23. It's giving us 0. Okay, I think it will always give us the first. For example, if I change this, let's see. It is giving me 1, and if I put another 23 over here, then what will it do? It is still giving me 1. So it will always give me the first time that number occurred, right? So that's it. Do we have any questions? So I'll just move to the last point that I have to say, and that's it for today. Acha, I'm sorry, there are 2 points. Let's start with the first one that is still linked to tuples. Okay. A very mistake that usually kids do, or that could happen, mistake to avoid, is that for example, if I declare a variable x is equals to let's say tup is equals to this 2 plus 3, and I print it tup, just giving me a 5. Can I change it? Wait a minute, I read it somewhere and I wanted to share. That's nothing. It's not a mistake. Sorry, just forget about this. Achha, so the one thing I wanted to say was, since you could see that this makes everything appear so jumbled up, confusing, and this is not what a good coder does. Okay, you want the output and the code to be as clear to you, plus it should be user friendly. So what we can do for that, we can always make our print statement more descriptive. And how we can do that, we can put double quotations over here. Then we can write anything that the number of times, the number of so basically it was 2. So it will give the wholes of the statement. So what you can do is to put take double quotations, put the sentence into it, make the output more descriptive and more user friendly. Okay, and always separate the variable and the statement that you want to put with obviously a colon, and you can put it both sides. Okay, the number of times 23 occurred is C. Let me remove this. See, it becomes more descriptive. So when you're reading the output, you would know what basically you are seeing over here. For example, we got confused कि हम इधर print statement किस वाली को देख रहे हैं. So we can always put a statement over here saying number of times 23 occurred is, and then separate it with a colon, then print it out, and then we'll have it. So that's how you make your output more descriptive and more user friendly. It is better for you. Okay. So yes. Oh, it will give you an error. You can always try this and it will give you an error. Add Line 62. Yes, that's an error. That's how you do it. This is a syntax. You know, there's two types of errors. One is logical error, and one is syntax error. Logical error is, for example, you want to find average, and instead of taking sum as numerator, you're using max function as numerator. So that's something that you are at fault at, or that I'm at fault at. I don't know the formula of average. So that's a logical error. A syntax error is that the language that Python understand, it will take that language only. So that is an invalid syntax. So syntax error. ये error भी पढ़ना एक बात होती है. So you have to see at what line it is occurring. So it always sends you the first error. So that occurred at 62 line. So you go back to that line, and this was the line. And then what it is a syntax error. The language, syntax is the language, and that the Python understands, not the computer, the Python. So if it does not understand that, so koi fayda nahi. Okay? Do we have any other question? So hope I didn't rush today and everything is explained. Good. So since the session is finished, and since apparently there are no more questions, so I'm looking forward to questions if you have any. Okay, so we don't have any further questions. And thank you all. Have a good day. Stay safe. And see you all in session 5. Allah Hafiz.